guys ready? Let's do it. Part 3. Alright, this Meta Talks Part 3 for Episode 13. Maokai has got a little change. Sap Magic can now be cast while silenced. That's his, I believe that's his passive. And that, it's when you cast, I think it's 4 spells, you get a heal based on, I can't remember the exact what it is, but basically you get healed on your next auto attack. So basically, even if you're silenced, you can still auto attack and get that heal back to you. It's a whatever change. It just happened. Then Orianna got nerfed, but this nerf was so tiny, I'm actually having trouble reading it. I can't even make it out. Like, what happened to Orianna? Nothing. Command Dissidence, that's her W, that's the slow, that's the ball, you throw at the ball, then there's a little wow noise kind of shoots out. If you run through it, it speeds you up. If you're an enemy, it slows you down and does some burst damage. Ability power reduced by 0.1. Whoop-de-doo! And then movement speed, slow, and boost reduced to 20 from 25 to 40 to 45, so 5% overall. Whoop-de-doo! Orianna needs to have her Q nerfed for starters, the damage on it, and her actually the Q damage needs to be nerfed like slightly. The biggest thing about Orianna that needs to be nerfed is her shield. Oh my god, the AP ratio on that needs to be like destroyed. It needs to be cut in half. The shield just absorbs so much damage. Like Q nerfed tiny bit, this nerf I can deal with, but nerf that goddamn shield. That shield is just like you throw it out, pull it back to yourself, you're like, I'm invincible, like 600 shield damage. Like, what the heck? That's so much. Riot, what are you thinking? Nerf your shield. Nerf your Q slightly. Nerf your shield big time. AP ratio. Not base, AP ratio. Nerf it. Thanks. That's what needs to happen to Orianna for her to be viable. I mean, not viable. Not game-breakingly overpowered in competitive play. Then we have Pantheon. Grand Skyfall now has a 550 or 5,000 or 5,500 if I'm not an artard and can talk in proper math terms. So it's 5,500 now. Same with Twisted Fate, but he's down here. Pantheon, Riot has said Pantheon's getting buffs in the future, probably next patch, I think they said in their patch preview. So, I mean, this sucks. You can still, cover roughly half the map with that, from like middle lane to top lane, or middle lane to bottom lane, or top lane to middle lane, that kind of stuff. So it's really not that bad. If you go middle, you can still gank the 2 lanes, and that was the biggest thing. They just want to stop the disgusting backdooring or top lane to like fully bottom lane kind of stuff, which is totally reasonable, and I don't blame Riot for doing it. Then we have Swain. Ravenous Flock now prioritizes champions. Cool. That's a little bit better for his laning phase, because if you guys watched the last Meta Talks or read the patch notes, it deals 75% damage return to Swain, and 25% on minions. So this means if you're harassing a champion in lane, if you're hitting them and it's going to prioritize them now, that means you're getting 75% back from that. So it's almost like you're hitting, it balances it out a little bit. If he's harassing, he's going to do a little bit better. It's a slight buff, but still okay. Teemo fixed bug where move quick do not proc on spell casts such as Sheen. Who cares? Then Tryndamere. Oh man, people are not happy about this. Tryndamere this is like way worse than the kill, and people are just like losing their shit. Like every Tryndamere at high elo, except for like one tool named Janika, I've just been like hating Tryndamere. Like a guy I know called Hacker V2. He loved Tryndamere, played him all day long, had like, I don't know how many games he has. Like, he literally only plays Tryndamere. Like, he loves him, plays him competitively, and he does well on them, right? And he got changed, and he's just really like, wants to quit the game, that he's so upset with the Tryndamere change. Apparently the jungling is a lot weaker now, and he's just so upset because he was a Trynd jungler. And the general consensus from the high elo community of Trynd players is that Tryndamere has been changed for the worse, and they're really not happy. But I'll give you a little lowdown on what I feel about this. I think it's a step in the right direction for Tryndamere. I mean, they wanted the rage system, and they were going to throw it in, and now he's 20% bigger because he's been working out like a boss. And Tryndamere now uses Fury, gaining 5 per hit, 10 per crit, and 10 per kill. So he gains, the Fury, and the Fury system like Renekton, you gain more damage or more heals or whatever. It amplifies your abilities, basically. So that's what happened to Tryndamere. Bloodlust got changed. It now adds damage instead of crit damage. I think that's the biggest change we can talk about, is it passively adds damage now instead of crit damage. Or I think it might have been his passive that was adding that. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it was Bloodlust. And the crit damage is what the Tryndamere players are really, really pissed about. It's because they don't have that big crits anymore. They're have a little bit more damage. It's more sustained. But that's not what made him, I guess, fun and not made him viable. It was these random huge crits. I guess is what they liked. And Riot obviously didn't like this. But that's kind of what made him viable. And then it's basically Fury heals him a little bit extra. Everything's been changed. You guys can read the patch notes because it's just basically saying what happened. Cooldown increased, yada yada yada, from 9 seconds. Spinning Slash. Actually, this is the Spinning Slash. I'll talk about the Spinning Slash change because I actually liked it. Spinning Slash is now free cast. Doesn't cost any HP anymore. Cooldown has been reduced to 9 seconds from 13 to 9 seconds. Base damage has been adjusted, so it's actually a little bit weaker at max rank, but stronger, 60 from 40, but 180 from 240 at max rank. But there's a big change. Now scaling has been adjusted to 1.0 attack damage from 0.5, so you gain 100% of your bonus attack damage from 0.5 before, and it still scales with AP. Hybrid Tryndamere Gunblade? Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. I'll have to try it out in a normal game. Now deals physical damage instead of magic damage. I actually like this change out of all the changes they did to him. I'm actually not even a Tryndamere player, so I know literally nothing about him. I'm just going off my experience with other players. But I actually did like this change when I saw it in the patch notes. And now Battle Fury is his passive, I believe. Now grants up to 35% critical chance, depending on how full his Fury bar is. Twist of Fate, we talked about this. Same as... Actually, no, it's different. It's different than Pantheon. Twist of Fate, because he has a great, really strong kit instead of, versus Pantheon, who doesn't have that great of a kit. The gate change doesn't even... I don't think people have to really stop playing Twist of Fate. I mean, you can still backdoor. You can still push a lane and get out of there. I mean, how can you cover a 550? I think this is yards or feet radius in game, which is literally like half the map. You can cover half the map. You can still backdoor completely fine and do all that. You can do everything Twist of Fate could normally do. You just don't have that. You can't just go from bot all the way to top and start backdooring again, kind of deal. Which is good. He was broken like that, so good job, Riot. He's not that nerfed. If you like Twist of Fate, don't be a little bitch. Continue to play Twist of Fate because he's fine. Then we got Udyr's Tiger Stance attack damage ratio has been reduced to 0.5 from 0.7. I don't know why they touched the attack damage ratio when it's his base damage is really hurting in lane. You walk up and hit them, but it's like whatever. Face the Bug, where total stance is healing off the damage dealt by Madrid's Razor. So basically what would happen was with Turtle Stance you gain 12% back HP, right? And then when you hit for 500 plus your damage, it would take 12% of that and give you these big sustaining heals. That's what's making it really, really strong. Again, Tiger Stance, I think they hit the wrong thing. I don't want to, this is like the Jax thing. You nerfed scaling when base needed to be hit. Derp. And then this was the good change. He's still very strong laner. He's still really good, and he hasn't changed that much. This is a big change that does help. But even when he gets the Razor, it still does a lot. Once you finish Wriggles, you still have great lane sustain. You're still lane Udyr still really good. Yeah, and that's all I'm gonna say about that, because that's all you really can say. We got Vayne, Fix a Bug, where Silverboards would go through blind effects. Who cares? York, oh my god. York, base Armor of Ghouls has been reduced to 10 from 20. Omen of Death Omen of Death damage percent reduced to 40, 60, 75 from 50, 75, 100%. So that means when you make an image of yourself or an ally, you're only getting receive 45, 60 to 75% of their total attack damage for them to auto attack stuff, opposed to 100% damage, which was like great before. And then Omen of Pestilence now scales off ability power at a 1.0 ratio instead of a 0.8 bonus attack damage ratio, which really sucks. Like, that's just a big nerf. Like, that means it gets no scaling because York gets no ability power whatsoever. And I'm just not a fan of that change. Then Omen of Famine heals for 40% of the damage dealt, down from 50%, and the range reduced to 550 from 650. Like, oh, those really hurt. Those really hurt Yorick. He's gonna move down a lot. But the thing is, Yorick can't compete versus a lot of these like big laning sustainer guys now. Like Nidalee's gonna crush him, and all these, Warwick will probably crush him too, and these other champions. But Yorick is still really viable versus casters. He's always crushed casters. Versus a caster that doesn't, like, say he goes up versus Annie mid lane, he's gonna poop on Annie, like just disgustingly crush Annie. So Yorick, these patch strategies really suck for him, but he's still really strong versus the right matchup. Again, tier list coming in when he's the right matchup. So if you throw him up against a caster that doesn't have any sustain or anything like that, he's gonna win that lane badly. You can just zone a caster out of their lane. Like, no sustain, Yorick will poop on you still. So these changes suck, but he's still viable. Which is, I think they may have hit him a little too hard for my liking, but I guess Riot wanted to tone him down. But again, I guess he is still viable in the right situation, so I guess mission accomplished, Riot. Item Zonia's Hourglass has been, combined cost has been reduced to 800 from 1,000. 200 gold less. It's a little bit more viable, a little easier to get. And then Randuin's Omen and Shrillia's Reverie have now grant assists when used. Yay! Then they fixed a whole bunch of bugs. I'm going to stop this right now.